Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handforth Town Council meeting of 8th of February 2022. Housekeeping: if there is a fire alarm, it is a fire. Please get out by the nearest exit. Before I start on the actual agenda, I just have a short statement to make. Following the HTC meeting of the 14th of December, adverse comments regarding HTC councillors have been made on Facebook and Twitter. These comments have caused considerable upset to all HTC members and have even resulted in derogatory accusations being made to a child of a town councillor. In no way, shape or form is HTC racist, nor would any member of HTC tolerate any racist comments or behaviour. I would point out that the first chairman of Handforth Parish Council was from the BAME community and was voted for by a councillor who is a member of the current HTC. That's all I have to say on that. First item, 22051, to receive apologies for absence. Ashley? Thank you. 22052, to note declarations of interest and requests for dispensation to discuss and vote on a matter in which a member or co-opted member has a disclosable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest. Do any councillors have any interest that we should be aware of? No? None either. Thank you. Sorry, but there is one item on the has it gone? Yes. It's not there, is it? Yeah, the Queen's Jubilee. There is an application from the building where I live. So I'll be stepping back from that.
And also me.
Okay, thank you. Open forum. Comments and questions concerning items on the agenda may be put to the council by the public during this period. Matters which, in the chairman's view, require debate and/or a discussion will be referred to the next committee or council meeting as appropriate. Items not pertaining to the agenda may also be taken at this time at the chairman's discretion. This forum is restricted to 15 minutes and strictly 3 minutes per person, unless the chair allows otherwise. Are there any questions from members of the public? Roger. And there was a loading dock there, and several branches of the single line of the main line written to about 4 different tunnels. There was a loading dock there on which tanks now had to be able to be taken down Brighton Road, all the way down the ditch to the Dean Garden and service there. That's a important part of transport history. So I think when a signpost is looking for the entrance of that on the left, given some of the history of that tank. The guidelines as to what to go on, then I would advise you to have a look at the PowerPoint presentation on the website of the Twin Transport Station, which gives precise details about that line and its use. One other important thing to remember, where that signpost is going to be, which way to get back. I was very pleased today to look on the planning access to the Garden Village. And I was also pleased to see that let's do something before road resurfacing and also widening the footpath you, Roger. If you were interested, I could show you where the spur line went. It's now where Pets R Us building is. We used to play on it. Thank you. Any other members of the public? Peter Moore? Yeah, if you can. Perhaps something we can need to look at actually with Paul. Thank you. And I would say we should also consider looking into the lectern issue. Any more members of the public? Ian Bull.
The report states that following a consultation period, HTC police and crime commission require has been granted his request before my court to set increase on council tax. Further report.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. We agree, and we'll make sure that we do something on that. Thank you. Any more members of the public? No, thank you. 22054, to approve and sign the minutes of Hanforth Town Council meeting of the 18th of January 2022. Any councillors have any issues with these minutes? No? Can I have a proposal to accept? Thank you. Can I have a second? Thank you, councillor. And a vote in favour to accept. Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you. Item 22055, to receive a report from the PCSO.
First instance, I wasn't going to, and we found out at the time itself, and it's not something that the numbers currently, again, for information to everyone, to check it, we're about should be about 2. We're going to be what we said, which still means the 122 comments that we put in the last instance is still on.
Could you just explain that 122, please?
122 that if an item is lost or stolen from through the police property system, we check the recovery. Not only is it more likely to get it back, but if your property is found within a criminal household, you can link that to a particular burglary or theft. And that's something.
Yeah, can I just ask Gareth? I remember about, was it probably a couple of years ago, 18 months ago, when we looked into these packs for an area in Hanforth, which at that time was suffering from more burglaries than other areas. Were you able to measure any results from that?
So the area.
Can you continue the monitoring of it then, just to make sure, see if it continues, the trend? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kath.
Sorry, I have just hold on. Just a couple of questions about the grid theft. You mentioned that there are 13 missing. Is that 13 since the last time or overall 13? I was just overall. And is that just in Hemforth or wider area? I think you mentioned wider. Okay. Great, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Just wondering, since the last meeting, has there been any new reports of it? None at all. Okay, great. That's good to know. Just last question about the residents' voice. It seems like a bit of a survey that Cheshire Police are doing. What do you intend to do with it afterwards, and how is the data going to? What outcome are we hoping to get out of it if the residents are being asked to complete this survey?
So the residents' voice survey, we are good data our police systems every 2 weeks. It's now something that hopefully more data we get going forward, information going into it. Data for regular. Officers are being asked to look at this when they come on shift. Find out what is me, and general feeling very spending our time. So the for example, harmful feeling antisocial behaviour has gone up as far as I'm concerned in the last 3 weeks. Now you can say if that is genuine fear or concern about it because we've been promoting the work done about it. You out there and say because of antisocial behaviour, which is telling you we're doing things like antisocial behaviour. So the nice thing to give is this is what people are concerned about. We're actually a credit environment of how thing. We understand the problem for us. We do something about it, and overall we do something good, very good in the area, rather than just with their overview. What I can do as I can ask yourself to see some of the data and
Yeah, that'd be great. When are we looking to get this data? When is the questionnaire sort of, or the residents' voice survey is going to be completed? How long is it running? It's evolving.
This is something that time being is here to stay. Fortunately, council will have that. Here's my practical thing with it. Other areas that are less suggested, we're looking forward to. So, again, thank you for everyone here and listening. It's been the update as well.
Okay. So what I was trying to get is, when are we likely to hear about the report, or when will you receive the report? So if it's an ongoing survey, do you get a report quarterly, weekly, monthly?
At the moment, we think staff record on it should be like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
So yeah, the new staff, they're all collectively together. We break it down into months, last 12 months, as much as we work like the whole of the group together and it goes down into Cheshire, East, North West, and here in Hampshire, the wards is more than
Great. So you'll have a report then that you can give to us before the next meeting, possibly?
Yeah, as I said, if I ask a question, what I can share and how we can present it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gareth. Oh, question.
Is it true that Brunel Police Station is being sold off, but the new one is being built in the new place? It was. It is. We can see basically that police station is massive. Compared to what we need, there are police cells there. Well, those cells aren't used in any capacity, but what is scouting there, or there are occasional visits. And for 8 years, 9 years, and the reason is basically because I was one call on Chester, and there's one call on Wesley, but the rest is in one zone where Mac LP is first class kit. Space alone, that sounds simple. Yes, we will continue to do so, but we are getting on. We are not sitting in the back of it. We still have robots.
Thank you finally, Gareth. 22056, to approve and sign the order of payments for February 2022. Do any members have any queries on the order of payments?
Just in the interest of being open and transparent, obviously on here is the deposit for the 22 pantomime. So I had a discussion with Ashley today just to clarify that obviously that would only be paid if we agree to go ahead with it in the agenda item coming up.
Yep, perfectly understandable. Thanks. Anyone, any comments on the order of payments? Any queries? No?
Just says, I've not had sight of this, and that's why I would. Was this emailed across?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
don't know. I've not seen it. Sorry.
This goes in as part of the pack that goes out to councillors
Must
the
have
week
missed
before.
it. Sorry. Sorry. For that reason, I would just like to abstain from voting on it because I've not seen it. Sorry, I didn't realise it was much more further down. So my apologies.
Well, could you have a quick look at Sam's now?
I'm happy to continue. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nobody else? Well, can I have a can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Julie Smith. A second. Councillor Sullivan. Can I have a vote of those in favour of accepting? Thank you. (22.057) to receive a report from Ward Councillor Julie Smith.
Thank you, Chair. In early April, D&G will end their contract to operate the 130 bus, which currently runs from Macclesfield to Wythenshawe Hospital and is the only bus service through Handforth. In January, Cheshire East put the contract out to tender and we're expecting to get the results by next Monday, the 14th of February. It is thought that the service will be taken up by another operator and the transition will be continuous. The missing drain covers have now been replaced. I checked today, had a drive around Speth Lane Estate, and they've all been replaced. And the police are in receipt of details of the people thought to have been responsible for stealing them. It's vital that missing drain covers are reported as soon as possible to prevent injuries. We unfortunately had one casualty last week where a child fell down one whilst getting out of a car and had to be hauled out by two adults. The child was extremely upset, but thankfully only suffered cuts and bruises. This could have been so much worse had the child been younger or smaller. Yesterday, we had the first of 5 community skip days. This was held on Meriton Road and was very successful. We had a full skip at the end, Ashley, correct? The next will be on the 28th of February and details will be posted the week before. It's hoped that by holding these regular events, the instances of fly tipping will be reduced. Handforth Town Council were thanked by the residents I saw for funding the skips. There will be a community litter pick on Saturday the 12th of March with volunteers meeting in the paddock at 1 p.m. in the usual place. I've spent some time this month, quite a lot of time actually, distributing winter warmth supplies to some of our most vulnerable residents. Cheshire East received a government grant to purchase blankets, hot water bottles, slow cookers, oil-filled radiators, duvets, draft excluders, gloves, hats, thermal socks and thermos flasks, which were given to the residents free of charge in the hope that they can now keep warm in the light of rocketing fuel charges. Anybody thought to be vulnerable, I've distributed these things to. Sensational Stay and Play and the Junior Youth Club are going from strength to strength. I volunteer at both of these, and they're just a joy. And more children are benefiting from the opportunity to attend. Our local PCSO even attended on Sunday to discuss the possibility of setting up a database of vulnerable children in case they ever get separated from their carers. There is an existing scheme called the Herbert Protocol, which is available for residents with dementia, and apparently a dementia sufferer was actually reunited with his carers a couple of weeks ago in Wilmslow by using this Herbert Protocol. Yeah. I've been asked by Andrew Backhouse to share that the Repair Cafe run by Transition Wilmslow, which saw a tremendous response when it last took place in Handforth, is coming back to the Aroma Cafe at St Chad's on Saturday the 5th of March. This is a brilliant incentive, which, as well as helping repair items, also teaches people the skills they need to repair things themselves. I had the privilege of helping the Time Out group obtain permission from Emerson to plant up the raised flower beds in the paddock. Emerson agreed to prepare the flower beds and donate some plants to the group for their project. Again, this is yet another brilliant group in our community teaching adults with complex needs the life skills they need. And I've noticed on Facebook this evening that they actually started planting today, which is lovely. I was happy to spend a blustery couple of hours helping other Friends of Handforth Station volunteers tidy up the railway station a couple of weeks ago. At the same time, some of the members installed the latest artwork at the top of the northbound platform, which looks excellent. Cheshire East have announced the latest round of crowdfunding for any local projects. The idea behind this is that a project is submitted to Cheshire East for approval, then a crowdfunding page is set up so that residents can contribute to the costs. Alongside this, there is a team from Space Hive who can help create, fund and deliver the projects. The full details can be found on the Cheshire East website. And a late addition, I have received some long-awaited good news today that Cheshire East Highways have finally been commissioned to construct the Spath Lane parking scheme, which Councillor John Smith first started working on in 2015 and which I took over in 2019. Whilst it's not as extensive as the originally planned scheme, it will alleviate the double parking on one of the most congested areas of Spath Lane Estate. There are 2 further locations on the estate which I will continue to pursue with Highways to provide even more safe parking. And that's my report.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. Any questions on the content of Councillor Smith's report? No? So? I think if you can remember that there was a proposal when Councillor Tolver was chair, and the proposal was the vote that ward councillors be asked to provide a report. However, the controlling group, which included Councillor Burkill, voted against it. Exactly, yes. But he doesn't do anything here anymore, so we can't ask him any questions. Yep. It'd be interesting to ask the question. Thank you for that, as a concerned resident. Thank you.
I was only going to say a similar thing. That's just superb work. Well done. Thank you very much.
Next item, 22058. Motion is to agree to host another pantomime production as per earlier years in November, December 2022. Up to 3 performances of Aladdin. Before anyone says, oh no, it's not. Oh yes, it is. Up to a maximum value of £3,500. Anybody any comments on that? Councillor Sullivan.
I'd just like to say that I initially set this idea of putting a pantomime up a few years ago when I was previously on the council. It's always been tremendously successful. It's a great way for families who potentially can't afford to go to the theatre. So we usually charge like adults £1 and 50p for a child, and that money that we make from that then goes back into purchasing snacks for the children to have, so they get a little snack bag when they come in. We do use a local shop to provide that as well, and it's just really well entertained. My only one question would be, when would you say potentially 3 performances? We normally do 2. Is that because there's a requirement for an additional one, or? Right. Okay. Right. Thank you.
I just want to say that since the pantomime has been happening, it's absolutely wonderful to see the children enjoy it so much, and they want to come back next year. So I hope councillors will support this.
I totally agree with what all the other councillors have said. The only point I have to make about this is that, and I think Councillor Moore will agree, because we volunteered at the one last year, a lot of people didn't turn up for one of the performances. And I think this year we need to charge a reasonable amount, because I think 50p per child, it doesn't give it any value. So people can just say, oh, it's a bit cold, we'll not bother. I think we need to be looking at charging at least £1 per child. It's not a lot, and I think it would give people more incentive to actually turn up, because we had to turn people away last year who wanted tickets because the performances were full.
Can I just say
the first performance especially, there were a lot of people that didn't turn up, so it's something to consider.
I think the reason for that is, Councillor Smith, was because of the pandemic, and a lot of people didn't want to come out, even though they'd said, because I know people who rang me to say, would all the adults be wearing masks? And no, I'm just saying. So, but I really don't think we should be increasing it under the circumstances.
What I think is perhaps previous years it's been well supported and people have turned up. Last year, whatever reason, it didn't attract the same number of people. Perhaps only the first performance. Okay, right. But we want every performance to be full, don't we? So perhaps this year, if we number the tickets and collect them in when people arrive, and make people aware that if they don't show, then they may not be eligible for a ticket for the following year. Does that sound acceptable? Yeah. Can you build that into the? Yes. Yeah, because when you look at the cost, if you look at the plaza in Stockport, for someone in Hamforth who's got 3 kids, maybe a single parent, and they'll be paying 15, 25, 30 quid overall for a mother and 3 children, the cost of getting there, the children wouldn't be able to see a pantomime. They don't know any difference, those kids who come to this pantomime, any difference between the plaza, the opera house, or Handforth Youth Centre. As far as they're concerned, it's magic and it's pantomime, and they get to see it.
Can I just say, when I've been helping out, the interaction between the children and the actors, and it's just amazing because they're so close. They really feel part of it, and that's the beauty of it all. The children absolutely loved it. They were so excited, and we just have to carry on with this. It's just brilliant for everybody. It saves, and you know, those parents that have 2 or 3 children, then it's a nice option, isn't it? I mean, to go to the theatre or Manchester is so expensive. So I'm all in support of this.
Personally, I wouldn't necessarily try and compare the Handforth one to one kind of the kind of professional pantomimes, because I know my children have had a better time here. The first performance I saw where the actors having to try and move the kids back, just sticks in my mind. I think it's fabulous, and it's definitely got my support.
Yeah, it is essential that we do charge because that helps to control the numbers.
Can I just also
sorry.
say that we do need more volunteers, people to come and help. There's an awful lot of children here, and in the second performance, I think there were only 2 or 3 of us. Yes, they were, but well, thinking about the teas and coffees and all the rest of it. So we really do need more people to come along and help out.
Gentlemen? So, no. Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, different pantomime each year. Excuse me, the motion is to agree to host the pantomime. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Julie Smith and Councillor Sullivan. And can I have a vote in favour, please? Unanimous, thank you.
Can I just ask, Chair, that we're not increasing the ticket prices?
No, we'll look at the monitoring the tickets and making. Yeah, we can just check the number of the ticket that they hand in and make sure that it's turned up. Yes. Bob, can you publish that as part of the conditions? Thank you. Okay. 22059. To invite the Handforth Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group to develop the Handforth SIL 123 projects infrastructure list based on evidence gained during the formation of the neighbourhood plan. We're looking to utilise. Sorry, Ashley? Okay. Delivery plan. You can give everyone an update on that, just a quick email to explain that what the new motion is. Does anyone on any members have any issues with changing the content of the motion? No? Okay.
Can I just say something, Chair? I was privileged enough to sit on the original neighbourhood plan steering group, and I'm still on the neighbourhood plan steering group at present. If the council would like me to stay on, I would be very happy to do so.
I think the council will be most happy for you to stay on, Councillor Moore. Thank you. So if anyone's got any queries about it, if not, can I ask for a proposal to Councillor Smith? Second, Councillor Sam. Thank you. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Sorry, Roger. Yes.
What I'm particularly pleased about is that they should access it to safety persons. Has now been covered by a grant for access for all. So that comes out of the equation. But there are various other matters on that list where I think the differences in even advice from members of the town council. For example, what's gone on with regard to improved parking at Plainview, as I put it about it tonight. The refurbishment of the youth centre. Well, I understand the youth centre is going to be taken on as an asset by the town council. How the refurbishment of the youth centre then going to be financed after that asset is transferred, etc. So we will need input from the town council to make progress with this.
Yeah, can I just mention, Roger, Sue Moore will be on both council and the group, but also Ashley will be heavily involved as he was in the original production.
Circulated all members of this steering group with the intention to hold another meeting of that group to get on with this job. As far as paying for infrastructure projects, well, we can all dream, and we can dream wonderful dreams. The question is, how are these dreams going to be paid for? Just by way of example there, I've done some initial calculations as to how much concern money this country can expect to see within the foreseeable future. It comes to, well, let's say, £171,000. Does that sound a lot? The bill for completing the car park runs to over, the station car park runs to over £1 million. Garden Village is going to look £983,000 for that project. That still leaves 1.03 million. Then there's the changes to the park on the south side of Station Road. Everyone knows what that's going to cost, particularly if we have to buy a strip of land from the end house and the houses, and then build quite a substantial retaining wall in order to make the park there PDA compliant. So,
Yeah, just a point, Roger. We're not going to sort it all this evening, but I would suggest that perhaps we still keep the station on the list, the access, until such times that we see a button to press, or that they've actually commenced work, so that we don't just tuck that one away and consider it ticked off. But yes, I agree that there's perhaps a change in priorities will be necessary, because if something's not timely, or if the cash isn't there, or for whatever reason, that we have to look at it. Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any more queries on that? No. So, did we have a vote on that? Yes, we did. Yes. 220510. The motion is to agree to spend up to £500 for the delivery of AED and CPR training sessions to residents of Handforth. Councillor Julie Smith.
Probably 4-5 years ago now, the town council, the parish council, gave a grant to a resident who I helped run some CPR and defibrillator training classes at Wilmslow View in Handforth for any residents to come along and receive training. Over about 6 sessions, we trained probably 70 residents in how to give CPR and how to use a defibrillator. And I thought it might be an idea to start them up again and offer them to residents now. I did some just general research over the weekend on Facebook and asked if any residents would be interested, and I was absolutely overwhelmed. I think to date, we've got about 80 residents that really want to take us up on this. So I'd like you to support me for the £500. I am looking at getting funding from elsewhere in case we need it, because obviously the only feedback I've had is on Facebook. It's not been on the notice board yet, and I think we might get a lot more interest from residents on there as well. So the idea is to use this hall and have maybe groups of 20, if we can do that. Ashley's still negotiating a price with a training delivery company for us, so it's something we're still looking into, but I'd like you to support me and give us a £500 to set the ball rolling.
Can I ask, are you considering having people from the village actually in the shops? I'm thinking about the defibrillator that's on our wall, which I think we need to advertise more because a lot of people don't know it's there. And the other thing I noticed the other day was that cars park in front of that defibrillator, and I think perhaps there should be some notice or something put there, but that's another story. But I really do think if something happened and that defibrillator needed to be used, it would be somebody who worked in the shops in the village. So perhaps we should have added to your residents people who actually work there, which may well be residents, of course. But
I don't understand what you mean. Anybody has access to that defibrillator.
oh, yes, I know. But what I'm saying is training for those people who are closest to it, and they're
it's open
most
to
of the time.
everybody. Yeah.
Yes, but if we need to, perhaps say to the businesses, look, we've got this training available. Would you like to send somebody along?
Yeah. Yeah. We could even ask them to contribute.
Sorry?
We could even ask the businesses to contribute towards the cost.
Always ask.
Roger.
One of the things that we stressed was how a first responder should approach the scene of a victim for their own safety. I would hope that these courses that you're hoping to arrange would have elements of that in.
Oh, yes.
For example, if you come across a kid by a railway line and there's a wire crackling, you don't go anywhere near and start CPR. Yeah. You make sure that the current is switched off first before you start CPR. You shout for help. All these little things are so important before you actually get down to the mechanics of doing the CPR.
Roger, the professional trainers, the last raft of training sessions that we had was St John's Ambulance. So, yes, all that was covered. Yeah, yeah. Pardon? Yeah.
Can I just add something, Chair? I'm thinking
you know, that our residents want their money spending on. So I propose that you give me this £500.
Yes.
Can I just say something? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I just wanted to say, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful training session that you're organising, and I'd like to propose that we amend the motion to say £500 in the interim and come back if we're overwhelmed by the number of people that wish to be trained. Can we do that, Clark?
I'll second it.
We'll have a vote, please. That's for the amendment.
Yep. So just going to say it's a brilliant idea. So thank you for bringing this to the table. I'm a first aider myself, and I know how good St. John's ambulance are. I had training with them about a couple of months ago. So they do go through all the health and safety and how to protect yourself before you try to help somebody else. So that would be covered by them if we do get them to run it for us. The question I had was, when it was run last time, how much did it cost us? And could we actually just going back on, I know we've just voted on the amendment, but could we not just increase the amount to be approximately the same amount? And if you need to come back, we can come back to it. So the first question is, how much did it cost last time?
Last time it cost £80 plus VAT. This time, it would seem St John's Ambulance aren't going out to carry out the training. They're doing it by Zoom. So we're looking at another company, and one of the prices that we have had is £17 per person, which is extortionate, in my opinion, when they've got a room full of 20 people. We're looking to get that reduced. But there are a number of companies out there. Now we know that we've got the funds in place, we can look around and set something up.
Do you think it might be worth considering the Zoom training as well, either instead or in combination? Simply because a lot of people might be able to attend that training that wouldn't be able to attend in person. It also presumably be quite a lot cheaper, and actually using, I appreciate some of the emergency response side of this is a bit more complicated, but the actual use of an AED couldn't be simpler, because if you're dealing with somebody who's in cardiac arrest, you're going to be on the phone to a 999 call handler anyway, who will tell you where the AED is, and then as soon as you've switched it on, it'll tell you exactly what to do. So that part of the training is relatively simple. And if we did deliver it via kind of a remote Teams type of session, you could presumably have an unlimited number of people receive training that way, quite easily and cheaply.
Yeah, I just wanted the opportunity for people to come and have a go, because that was the attraction at the Wilmslow View sessions. People could actually, you know, do the CPR on the dummies and know what they were doing and use the equipment, and there's just something about touching the stuff and practically, the practicalities of it. So
I think, Ashley, if you can look into any further possibilities of training companies, training individuals, and as Sam says, who are able to do it Zoom,
Yeah.
It still gets those people understanding what's required, and that's the end. That's the aim of the actual thing, not necessarily where they lie down or where they are.
Can I just point out as well something that came up on? I was talking to somebody on Saturday evening who works in the village, and she was saying that they had a reason to go and try to access the defib more secure. And when she got there, she phoned the number, and the operator had no idea where she was or what the code was. So could you make sure that it is registered, because it's pointless otherwise.
Or perhaps I.
The
Yeah, but they
defibrillator
didn't
is
know.
supposed to be checked every month, isn't it?
No, it's not the defibrillator itself. It's they didn't know where to tell the person.
The operator
defibrillator
didn't
was.
know
The
where
operator.
that was
but I thought
to
that
give
would
them the
have been
code
part
of
of
that
the check.
particular defib. So
That's That's dreadful.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
so,
So if you could just make sure, yeah.
right, so perhaps we need the information from the individual of what they tried to do and what they weren't able to do. We can get hold of that.
I would just like to object to the Zoom. Doing it through Zoom, I don't think it would work with all respect, because I feel like you do physically need to see it. So from what Julie said, having some in-person sessions would actually be really helpful. Over Zoom, they just give you instructions and you kind of watching them, sort of similar to a video watching, which you could probably just do at home. You could just YouTube how to use a DFib and it will show you how to use it. So it would be around the similar thing. Only difference will be you could possibly ask questions. So I'm in favor of doing it in person, but it's just trying to see how cost effective we can be really in the whole process.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I do think Sam's idea is a good idea, and I think we should do both. Definitely, because we will reach a wider audience then.
Yeah, there may be some individuals who are not able to.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, there may be people who are not able to get out, childcare, etc. So.
At Cheshire East, so I should hear about that tomorrow. Also, I'm running now, but the police as well. I've asked if they would be willing to contribute anything towards it. And Gareth is actually asking
The department that they deal with, if their trainers could actually come and train residents, the trainers that train the police, if they can donate them their time for a couple of sessions. So I've got a few irons in the fire at the moment looking for funding. Also Onward Housing, I'm meeting with Wendy tomorrow to discuss. She was asking for some funding so that we could run one of the courses for residents from the Swath Lane estate in the residents' lounge at one of the tower blocks. So there's lots of things going on at the moment. So, you know, the £500 initially, but with the option, you know, of looking at it again if it's successful. Thank you.
Ashley, it doesn't make it easier if we agree that available increase now, from your point of view? No? Okay. So the motion is still to agree to spend up to £500. Okay. 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 Can I have a proposal for that, please? And a second. And may we have a vote? Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 220511. To agree the purchase and installation of a new footpath sign on Hall Road, Brereton Road, up to £110. Councillor Moore.
Yes, I put this on the agenda because I drive up that road regularly and I know the path is there, and my husband drives up that road too and knows the path's there. But the number of times you get people who just step out in front of you, I always go on the other side of the road if there's nobody coming, because it really is very dangerous. And for those people that don't, delivery drivers and the like, who don't know there's a footpath there, I'm just waiting for a fatality, quite honestly, particularly when parents come are walking to school with their children. A lot of them use Brereton Road as a cut through to come to St Benedict's, and it's very busy. And the cars at that time are phenomenal as well, but that's another story. But I just think it needs to be advertised so that people know it's there and drivers are aware there. And I think there used to be a notice. Where it went, I do not know. I have to say, I'm not sure that a footpath sign is what we want so much as a drivers beware of footpath or something along those lines. I'm not 100% really. Right.
Yeah, there is a sign that gets put up where there is a perceived risk to pedestrians, and it's usually a large rectangular warning sign with a large exclamation mark on it,
Yeah.
which perhaps we could look at that.
I think something like that would be.
So it's to make people think, is what it is.
I think quite a lot of footpaths coming out onto pavements like that do have a fence across them, don't they?
Yeah, it's like a gate.
Isn't that right? Yeah, well, it just, as people come out the footpath, it basically stops them stepping straight out into the road. It keeps them on the pavement.
Isn't the one there?
It's not?
No.
Okay.
No.
Might be worth considering.
Sorry. Roger's waving. Or drowning.
It's set flat and nobody can see it. Yeah.
From American Road onto Bournemouth is that you can't see what's coming. That's right. So, special, using a problem might be to cut that shrubbery out. Nothing to do with it, it's just, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, that would be anything would be helpful, because at the moment it's just blind, isn't it? Nobody knows. Well, residents know about it, but I'm not sure that everybody takes notice if you see the speed of people going up and down that road.
Can we talk to Paul about that? No, it'd have to be bigger than that. Yes, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah, but if Paul, and I think we'd have to get Cheshire East permission
The one with
for it to be
children
installed.
on it.
Yeah, the school one.
Pedestrians. There's one with pedestrians on it too.
Okay, that might help. If it's placed near to the footpath exit. Yeah. Yeah. And allied with Paul having a look at that shrubbery, it might assist. Shall we defer this until? No, because we've got the new footpath. Is that the one that you've got in the lockup?
No.
Right.
So the next, are we allowed to put those up?
We have to have permission from Cheshire East.
Do we? Yeah.
Did you want that as well?
I think the public footpath would be useful as well, but I think I'm worried about drivers, so I think the sign, I think probably the two together would be very helpful.
Okay. Can we adjust that?
Tell you what, why don't you prove it? Put the fund, skip the school one, see if that does any use the free one. And then if it doesn't, we've got it in the bag to come back to get it all.
Yes, as well as Paul having a hack at the bushes. Yes. Do you want to leave the motion as it stands?
But, you know, have it carry it in the bag for us. We can wait for us to show if we need to. If it doesn't make any improvement, then it's there. We'll, any more, we go for that.
Yes. Okay. Oh, can I have a? Yep. Can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Sampson, and second. Councillor Sullivan. Thank you. Can I have a vote of those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 220512, motion is to review and agree any received Queen's Platinum Jubilee Award applications. Got
Maybe just that one, not out of any team that they want to give the school out.
Yes, no objection to that. I thought I had another one. Yeah, and I will recuse myself from that one.
One thing, I can't vote on that, but if you need any information, I can possibly help with that.
Are there any queries on it?
You've put Sunday the 5th of June for the, on the application. Is it Saturday?
Possibly, I don't think it's set in concrete yet, Saturday or Sunday.
Oh, right.
But if it's the Sunday, it's not.
Mm.
There will be a marquee, hopefully, and a gazebo.
I mean, for me, this is kind of an application for what, that's the whole point of the pot of money. It looks like it's exactly what we're aiming to fund.
Yeah.
So I don't see why we'd object to it, really.
No. I'll propose it. Those in favour?
Yeah, we'll put it, I'll
Yes.
put it to defer to March.
Okay.
Could we ask
Don't
that
worry.
if they do come to the next meeting that we put it as the first agenda item?
Yeah.
Okay. 220513, motion is to confirm the bank account signatures. Should that be signatories or signatures?
Or signatories.
It should be signatories. Is that your proposal? And I'll second that.
Can I propose the chair, Councillor John Smith?
I'll second that.
What is it we're actually...
It's to confirm the bank signatories.
Oh.
You sign the cheques.
Okay, right.
All under his control.
Yeah.
Okay, so vote. Yeah, I'll propose the chair of finance.
I'll second it.
Okay. Vote in favour.
Can I vote for myself? Oh,
So,
thank you.
I think it's like one more.
thanks, sir.
Two.
Signature? Yes. Thank you. So we can confirm with a vote now, Sue, to be signatory, yes? Okay. Proposal from Councillor Sullivan. Second from Councillor Sampson. A vote, please. Okay. Thank you. Twenty-two oh 15. Sorry, 14. Bear with me a second, I'll just get some paperwork out. To receive notices and correspondence. A couple of items. One is we are getting a bill from Cheshire East for the elections that have taken place. There's an election on the 6th of May, which resulted from Councillor Thompson vacating the seat for non-attendance of meetings. That was declared well in advance of the Police and Crime Commissioner elections. Therefore, it's a slightly lower cost at £5,073.79. There was an election on the 22nd of July caused by the resignation of Mr. Brewerton. That could have been avoided if if Brian Tolver, the chair, had accepted Mr. Brewerton's resignation in March when he actually put it in. But unfortunately, Mr. Brewerton hadn't correctly sent the resignation to the chair. He, for some reason, sent it to the monitoring officer. The election following that would have fallen into Police and Crime Commissioner's elections in May and been a much lower cost than the £7,905 that we're getting a bill from Cheshire East. And there was the 23rd of December election caused by the resignation of Brian Tolver, who could have resigned much sooner. He was actually on a dispensation in July. That could have happened a lot sooner. And then again, that would have fallen in with the Police and Crime Commissioner elections, which would have again made it much cheaper. But it's still, I'm just looking on here actually, I can't find the number. Not received the bill yet, but we could expect it to be around the 7,900 mark. So it's 16, 20 odd £1,000 that perhaps would not have necessarily been had to be spent by the electorate of Handforth had people not been so, I don't know, what's the word? Yes, he resigned on the May the 12th when the report from the barrister into the behaviour of 3 councillors had. There was no call for an election. Yeah, co-option, so therefore.
And the cheap one.
Cheap date. So yes, Mr. Burkle resigned from the parish council on the day that that report was issued, therefore making him no longer subject to any sanctions from Cheshire East for any actions as a parish councillor. So that's the unfortunately the bad news that we now have to find 20 odd grand just because of go all the way back, people not believing Ashley doing his job correctly, and people putting doubts in and suspending him, and all the hopefully in 10th of March, all will be made known to the public, which unfortunately 3 of the councillors here are unable to do as yet, because we were also investigated, although we were not found to have breached the code of conduct. I'll specify that again. We 3 were not found to have breached the code of conduct. I won't mention what other results there were. And one other item is we are awaiting information from Cheshire East Legal on our application to take over the running of this building. So we're waiting for them to come back to us on that. We don't have a date yet for when they are coming back, but as soon as we do, we will be looking into it and seeing where we're up to. Okay. Date of the next meeting be held on the 8th of March, just 2 days before the actual meeting at Cheshire East. Might be a good time by all. Okay,
Chair,
thank you. Yes.
I was going to ask if we should move our committee meeting to after the 10th.
I think that's a very good idea.
So that, well, they promised it would be out on the 10th, and I really feel that I'm not.
Call it
Well,
extraordinary.
they put it in, it's in emails, and I mean, if they don't publish it on the 10th, well, then we go to the press and we tell everybody what we've been subjected to.
I understand exactly what you say, Cynthia, as you know. We could always have an extraordinary meeting
Yeah.
once we get the results, and invite all and sundry. Go live on everything. Yes. Sorry, say again. Thank you for that. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of the actual part A of the meeting. I'd like if the members of the public and anyone. Yeah, we should have it's 10 to now. We'll be back in for 9 o'clock to discuss the part B.